Welcome in to a Saturday edition of Views from the Stands. We truly appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm your host, Stevie B, Steve Brennan, and I'm from Indiana, baby. Yeah, we have the boys back together. We have the GM, Mr. G Mike, and Mr. BC. All three of us are back together. It's great to have the crew back together. How you boys feeling today?
Good, ready to get into some draft talk, man. Let's do it.
Let's go. We missed BC in the show, baby. We got him back, baby. Let's go.
Got him back, man. The boys are back together, man. All right, man. We have a fun-filled show for you today. It's obviously playoff time, so we're going to be going over the last couple games that's been going on. A lot of interesting stuff going on with that. We also have one of my favorite freaking times of the year, the NFL draft. We have a lot to unpack. We got a whole bunch to unpack, honestly, with the NFL draft, man. It's been an interesting one for sure. So anybody out there that wants to jump on and talk about your team, please, we would welcome that and leave in the comments or just jump on the show if you want to come live. Really appreciate everybody out there that's supporting us. But before we get into all the sports stuff, let's go ahead and knock out some sponsorship stuff we got going on. Mr. BC, why don't you let the people know what you have going on?
I mean, I know it's been a little bit, everybody, since I've been on, but you guys already know the story by now. The missus and I got our little small business here, wedding photography, engagement photography, videography thrown in there as well. We're also doing senior portraits. We're doing family formals. Any of that kind of stuff that you need, we got you covered, and it's all done at Brandes.media. We are Central Florida's premier husband and wife photography and videography duo. Once again, Brandes.media, that's our website. You can check out our portfolio, see if we're what you guys are looking for, and if we are, come give us a holler. We'll help you make those memories that last a lifetime.
Perfect. All right, Mr. G Mike, you know we want to make some money, brother. Tell them how to do that.
Yes, man. Yesterday we were making some money, baby. Today we're going to make more money, baby. Guys, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports gambling slips. $10 a month, but we could get you winnings daily of $50 to $100 to $150. So you'll see the link pop up in the chat if you're watching the live episode. If not, if you're watching the recorded episode, it'll pop up on your screen. If not, just slide into one of my socials, one of my DMs. We'll start a conversation on how we could get you on and go.
Hell yeah, man. Can't wait, man. It's awesome, man. We've done a lot of stuff to make some money off, and who doesn't like a little extra change in the pocket, man? We also want to give a couple shout outs to a couple people that's been supporting us for since we've been doing this thing here. We want to give a shout out to Varsity Sports Nation, man. It's your premier sports app. You want live sports, they got you. You want college sports, they got you. You want high school sports, they got you. The best part about it is that it's in a convenient app. You can download it on your iOS, your Android, your Roku TV, your Apple TV, Fire TV, as well as any of your socials, man. You can catch up on our show on demand and plenty of other contributors. It's a great app, so check out Varsity Sports Nation for us. Last but not least, we also want to give a shout out to Millions, man. Millionsports.co. They've been a supporter of us since we pretty much got started. They have a great app that you can also download as well. They have a lot of interviews you can do with athletes. You can really get to know some of these athletes and stuff. So it's a really great business and a really good company. So we want to thank them for supporting us. And please, if you're out there, give them a shout out and give them a look, please, as well. While you're doing that, if you could give us also a like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. We've been doing pretty well lately with the like and subscribes, but we can always use more, so we really appreciate it. Tell your friends, tell your family. It's a great show, and we're trying to just make it better than we always can, man. You can find us on YouTube. We're going to be on iHeart pretty soon. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so the easiest way to find out what we have going on is just click the bell, man, and it'll let you know what we have going on and whenever we are going live. So we really appreciate it. Like we were saying before, please just tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody you know. We really appreciate it.
Yo.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get into some sports, man. What about you guys?
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with these NBA playoffs, man, and we're going to do it like we did last time. We're going to start from the top left over here as the Oklahoma City Thunder are up 3-0 on the Memphis Grizzlies. Fellas, is this a surprise to anybody, or is this just we already knew this was coming?
I already knew this was coming. Honestly, number one team in the league regular season. I mean, yeah, you got Ja and Triple J, but it is what it is, man. This is like Oklahoma City's a well-oiled machine. This is a good tune-up series for them, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. They look impressive.
No, definitely. And, I knew OKC was going to take it, but going up 3-0 right now, I think the Grizzlies, I thought they were going to put more of a fight. In game 3, John Moran goes out in the first half because of a weird, awkward landing that he had with Lou Dort trying to make a play on him. He gets out of the game. He doesn't come back, and that just ruins the whole momentum for Memphis. They come back in the second half, third quarter. They only score 18 points, while the Oklahoma City Thunder scored 36. They come
Yeah,
back from
can't have that.
20-point deficit to come back and win by what 6 points, 5 points. So
Yeah.
man, UC was just showing how great they are on offense and defense.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. OKC is definitely they just look like this is where they're supposed to be. They look the real deal. This doesn't look like a fluke at all. They like you got a bunch of young players emerging right now. Like they look like they're going to be around for a little while as well. They're just they look like they just play together so well, man.
Yep. The biggest thing with Oklahoma City, and we're going to see this a little bit more in the postseason as the games get tougher and tougher, is how are they going to be able to take that leap? Are they going to be able to kind of make that? Yeah, they're playing great together during the regular season, first round of the playoffs, great signs. But as obviously the series is not over yet. Don't ever want to say anything, but we got to see how they play next round if they make it past that. Because, like I said, last year going up against Mini, it was not pretty for them. So like they definitely got to show some championship pedigree. They got to grow together a little bit more this year. So again, a lot of promise, but we saw this last year. Let's see if they can learn from their mistakes last year and take it one step further.
You think they could close it out and just sweep them?
Yeah, it's
They
over
could.
today. 3:30. I believe the game's at 3:30. I think it's done today.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Like I think that I think sweeping Memphis would really show people where their heads are at in terms of
Exactly.
this postseason.
No, and I feel like if they do complete the sweep, they get more rest, they get more analytical looks on who they're gonna get next, the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Clippers.
And it's been
Um,
that series.
they get to work on more plays that they can incorporate into the next round. I think it will be great for them to end it today for sure. I think that's what we're gonna see today if they can actually withhold their statue of being one of the greatest teams probably ever assembled, right? But obviously this season. So if they're able to close it out today, just like you guys alluded to, they show where they're at, where their heads are at, and what they're trying to do. If they're not able to do it today, I think they'll close it out in 5. I don't think they go back to OKC and they lose a game and this series extends even more. But I think it will show like, yo, these guys can be beat and they are a little bit weak minded.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's so like I want to ask you guys a question here. It's like a gift and a curse sometimes. Like if it comes to the playoffs. So if you look at the series underneath it here, if you're watching on the screen, if you can, if you're listening on the audio version, it's the next opponent would be the Clippers and Nuggets, and that's 2-1 in the series right now. And that series look like it's probably going 7. The way they've been going back and forth, Do you think it's a benefit for OKC to have that much time off because they're going to have to wait on these guys to get over, or do you think that it's a negative thing because they're going to be sitting out for so long? Because this game, if this is the way it's going and the way it looks like that series has been going, we'll get to it in a couple of minutes. We'll be breaking it down a little bit more. But do you think that's a benefit or or negativity for them having that much time off? BC, what's your thoughts?
I was gonna say I think it actually hindered them, especially in the early round. We've seen, I think, the last few years in the early rounds of the playoffs that teams with more time off in between series, it does kind of allow some rust to set in a little bit. Whereas as you've gone further into the postseason, that's when you start seeing that extra few days of rest paying off. Because again, this is high leverage basketball here, and there's obviously it's hard to kind of quantify it, but there is a certain point where the rust starts setting in versus the amount of time you have off, the rest being a benefit. And then as you start getting more closer to the finals, conference finals, that's where that trade-off starts happening. And you start saying, okay, now because it's been such a dogfight, these last 2 or 3 rounds, getting to the championship, that rest is starting to be more important. So and again, too, like playoff, like the first round, literally season ended like a couple weeks ago, I want to say. So like they're just now getting the playoffs. There's a bit of a lag in between regular season and postseason, and now adding extra time off on top of that. Again, that's why for me, the early rounds is something where that rest is not necessarily most needed. You kind of want to save that more for the end of the playoffs. But again, if they're able to lock in, if they're able to kind of keep that momentum going, just keep studying on film, keep practicing, keep trying to simulate as much of a game situation as you can in Oklahoma City, that's going to help them.
What about you, G, Mike? You think it's a benefit, or would you rather, get it going quicker. If they do sweep, obviously.
I think it's a benefit for young teams like this because I
Mhm.
feel like with older teams, like if they do rest too much, they go into
Mhm.
the next series or the next game, and then they gotta try to get their legs under them. They gotta get their motives going. They gotta get their legs moving, and they get rusty in the first, second quarter. You come back in the second half. Okay, now we got the energy moving. Now we got our legs underneath us, and we're good now. I feel like with young teams like this, and especially how successful the OKC Thunder are, I think that they're just going to hit the ground running game one. They're going to be so excited to play again
Yeah.
that they're just going to be firing on all cylinders, defense, offense, setting picks, shooting threes, making dunks,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, no, and I like the fact of it seems like OKC has a bunch of mature guys, if that makes any sense for a young team. They don't play like they're a young team. They play like this is what they're supposed to be, and they're vets, even though most of them are 21 and 26 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they're younger team or something like that. So I think that they play like this isn't too big for them. This is where they're supposed to be, which is a benefit. And I agree with you guys as well. I don't think that they'll show any kind of rust if they do get this sweep today in the series and have to wait. I think they'll be just fine. Some teams, it seems like it kind of gets them out of the rhythm, but these guys just look like they're hungry and like this is what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, they're the exception,
All
not
right.
the rule, though.
So we'll go ahead and call it since it is today. Are they sweeping today or what? Is this series over?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
I think so too. We bust out the brooms, man. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the East. And Mr. G, Mike, you got your boys over here, man. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. Cleveland Cavaliers are up 2-0. Mr. MIA up there, man. What's your thoughts on the series, man? How you liking your team?
Sting in action.
Oh man, it's
Oof,
tough. Man.
Damn,
It's
shots
tough.
fired.
We are putting up a fight, which I like to see. Game one we should let too many open shots go. I think we made a great adjustment in game two of that. I think we were hustling more, not saying like a lot, not closing out on defense or not helping each other a lot. But we did a better job of it, a slight better job, but it was still a better job. But when it came to offense, we just showed what we've been showing all year, that we can't score for nothing unless it's Tyler Hero. Bam Adebayo, 11 points. Andrew Wiggins, 10 points. We got Davon Mitchell that he's supposed to be off the bench, but he started this game for us. 18 points. He's a dog out there. He doesn't care who's in front of him, defense or offense. He's going to do work. And then on our bench, we got Haywood Highsmith with 17 and Jovic with 11 that helped us out, right? But then if you were watching the game going down the stretch, we ended up closing the fourth quarter out to 6 points with like 7 minutes left in game two. The same exact situation in game one is just that the way that we got there from game one and game two was a little bit different because we were down like 22, 24 points at one point. We get down to 7 points, and then obviously the star that Donovan Mitchell is, he starts to take over and he starts to go off, right? He makes like 9 points in a row, or if not 10 points in a row to close out the game. But then this is where the lack of experience comes in for our team, and why I know we're trying to move away from Jimmy Butler, but I haven't moved away from Jimmy Butler yet because of his IQ and what it meant to our team. We go down the stretch, we leave Nikola Jovic in the game instead of putting in someone who is more experienced or someone that can hit more shots, right? We leave him in the game. He misses 3 wide open shots. He has 3 turnovers, and then one of the turnovers literally cost us the game with like 30 seconds left to go because we were only down by like 2 or 3 points at that point. And it just
it's kind of ironic. It's almost like the opposite of what OKC is doing. Miami kind of reminds me they're playing like a younger team where they have almost the same age group of guys at OKC, but yet OKC looks like exactly this is where they're supposed to be, where Miami just looks lost without Jimmy.
Exactly. That's exactly how it looks. And we can't just be riding this wave of just Tyler Hero, the only one that's scoring more than 20 points. We can't have that. We can't have that.
Yeah.
When we have an all-star forward in Bam Adebayo that can score on anybody, but sometimes, most of the time, chooses to play passive-aggressive. And this is why we're probably going to get swept this series. If we don't win today, we're probably going to get swept.
I think so.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty well put, really, and there's nothing much else really can really do. So, all right, so let's say this does get a sweep here, something like that. Where does Miami go from here? Like, what do you think their actual needs are? Like, what needs to change? Obviously, they lost the Alpha and Jimmy. What do they need to do to change it? Because that Heat culture thing doesn't seem like it's there right now.
We need another leader to come in that's going to score about 20, 25, 30 points a game. That's what we need.
Do you think
We
it's
need
a vet, or do you think it's like a vet that comes in, or is it like a rookie or something like that? Do you think that like someone in college or something like that, or is it a vet?
No, I think it would be. It doesn't have to be a vet in the NBA. I don't think it's gonna be someone that we're gonna draft for sure. But it doesn't have to be a vet in the NBA. It could be someone who's 2-3 years just in the
Yeah.
NBA, but someone that brings in leadership with also scoring the rock. That's what we need because we're good on defense. We play great defense. We just need someone else to come in,
Take
show
a load.
IQ, take a load, and freaking score the rock, bro. That's what we need. We need someone to come in and score the rock. And I know a lot of people are alluding to Kevin Durant and stuff like that. Like I do like Kevin Durant, but he's got what, like 2, 3, 4 years max left, and it's like, okay, if we're gonna do that, right? If we're gonna do that, first of all, we got to trade away some young pieces, right? So it's got to
Yeah.
be some young pieces that we're not using, if that's even possible. So we trade away those young pieces, and he comes in. We better be fighting inch for inch every single game, every single year to try to get into the East because obviously Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Detroit now, New York
Indiana.
now, they're not going anywhere. So we got to
Indiana,
be
don't forget them.
exactly Indiana. Like we got to be fighting inch for inch when we bring in Kevin Durant. If not, if we're looking towards the future, then it's got to be someone else that is younger that can score, and then we're just going to be hopeful for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that I've heard the rumors as well, Durant to possibly Miami or something like that. I don't think that's a fit. I think Durant at this point in time in his career is more needs to go to like an established team. Like I could see him go. He needs to go to like a. He's not going to be the answer for. He's never been necessarily the greatest of a. No offense to him or something like that, but never been the greatest of a leader. He's had teams where he's not an alpha. He just is a baller, and I just want to score. He's pretty good on defense, but not the greatest. But he's a baller. You know that he just got to get you buckets, no problem. But I don't think that going to Miami would change anything really for his career or Miami.
Yeah, and just because we're on this subject of who can we bring in, for you guys out there that really think that we should get Ja Morant, bro, you guys are not watching basketball. You guys are not watching NBA basketball because Ja Morant does not fit our culture like that.
No,
man, this guy, he's not Heat material, bro. He is not. There's no reason to bring him in. And he's another guard. We don't need another guard. We need another forward. I would just say forward. I'm not going to even say big man because I think Kel'el Ware, he's going to do work. He's just young right now. Bam. He's just got – he needs someone else to take the pressure off of him. Obviously, he can't really hold that offensive stature that we need him to.
Yeah.
So we need a forward to come in that's going to actually put buckets. We don't need another guard.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think Morant to Miami would be a horrible idea. I can't see him and Spoelstra gelling. There's a certain standard when it comes to Miami. It's almost like sending with like the Thibodeau, where it's a no nonsense place. That would not work for that personality. I just don't see that clicking. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I don't see that one working at all.
The number one person that I want right now for sure is Giannis. Giannis has been linked to Miami for the last few years.
Yes, I can see Giannis working out fine.
Oh yeah,
Milwaukee is looking like they're gonna get beat by the Indiana Pacers, even though they had a great game yesterday that we're gonna talk about. But it's still looking like they're gonna get beat by the Indiana Pacers. If they get beat in the first round, Giannis is gonna want out, bro. And again, he's been linked to Miami for the last several years, and we got pieces to give them, and he could fit with us 100%.
We'll definitely get to the Bucks here in a couple of minutes, but I think the Bucks, as they're structured right now, it's not going to look the same next year. But all right, so we'll go ahead and jump off of Miami real quick so we can get to the other series real quick, and we can jump into those Bucks, whatever. But we also have a great series going on right now. We got the Clippers and we got the Nuggets, man. The Clippers are up 2-1. This has been a battle, man. True basketball fans, you know you love this series right now. G Mike, man, you're up first, man, brother. What is your thoughts on the series, man? This has been great.
It's been good, man. It's been a great series. It's been back and forth the whole time. This game three, it got a little out of hand when it came to the fourth quarter. The Nuggets only scored 13 points, while the Clippers scored 27. That is the lack of coaching right there. That's what that is. The lack of coaching and obviously the role players. Steve and I talked about this last episode. Which role players of which team are actually going to take that leap to help their team win? And the Clippers role players. You got Clippers with 6 players in double digits, and you got the Nuggets with only 3 players in double digits. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
Yep.
Well, I mean, wait a second. So you mean firing your head coach before the playoffs start, the guy that won a championship about 2 years ago, is a bad idea? Like that? Wow. I know you're the GM. I know we call you the GM, but I mean, like, that? Wow. Turns out you really are. Then, like, that makes sense to me.
Jokic to the Lakers confirmed.
Franchises in 2K and Madden, you know, and the show.
Haven't we all?
Done a lot of franchises.
Honestly,
man, what's your thoughts on the series, brother?
I mean, I was gonna say Jokic to the Lakers confirmed after this season. Nah, it's like if this doesn't look like a tank job, I don't know what it is. Like, again, for all the faults that maybe some of the fans wanted to say about Mike Malone, dude knew how to get a lot out of his role players. I know they were struggling a little bit this year, maybe the last couple of years, you could say, but still, he knew how to relate to his guys. He knew how to get the best out of AG, Jamal, like all those dudes. So to just let him go like that, we are seeing this now unfold in person. And just looking at the trends of this series, Denver pulling out a 2-point win in OT in game 1. Game 2, losing by 3. Now game 3, you get the doors blown off of you. This is not trending in the right direction. So
if you're, it was more the GM problem of the way the team was constructed than Malone's problem. I don't think it was Malone like that. That that was part of his frustration as well, as he didn't get along with the GM, and so I think the owner basically was like, "I'm getting rid of both you guys." But I think it was a bad move. I can understand maybe getting rid of the GM because they did not do, from what the reports were, that Malone wanted, that he was telling them that, like, this team that's not where we need to be, and they just didn't get along. So. But I think it was a bad move, especially when they did it. Maybe if they lose the first round of the series, that's your justification. Fine, we're going a different direction. But a couple weeks before the playoffs start, from a guy.
Steve lags right there, folks. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a little technical difficulty.
Little lag.
Well, we had some technical difficulties there.
Oh man.
That's that Wi-Fi in the
internet access is messing up. I don't know if you guys can hear me out there.
That's the Hoosier Wi-Fi right there.
We hear. Go ahead.
All right, you guys back? We good to go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. All right, so we're back in this and up and running, I hope. All right, fellas. Well, yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So game 2.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook gets 23 minutes, right?
Yep.
Game 1. Well, I'm letting this load. My internet is going crazy too. Yep. Game 1, Russell Westbrook gets 34 minutes, right? And it's a close game in both games, right?
Yep.
Without looking at the box score. Both.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many minutes do you think that Russell Westbrook has gotten?
Too many.
Like
in game 3. I'm sorry.
Oh, how many minutes do you think that he got?
Yeah.
In game 3?
Yeah.
I know. Well, I mean, I kind of spoiled. I know what they lost already by a wide margin. So let's say he got. Steve, I'll let you go around there.
I'll let Steve go.
I'm going to say
10. I didn't look at the box, so I'm just going 10.
I'm going to say 8.
9 minutes.
Dang, right in the middle.
This is a perfect example of why you don't fire your coach before the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're going away from a strategy that in both game 1 and 2 were close games. When there's close games, there's nothing to really fix. At that point, it's just who's hustling more, who's making more shots, who's being more efficient on both ends of the floors.
Ball bounces a certain way.
The ball bounces a certain way. Exactly. Great point.
Well, ironically, too, that was part of the problem that I guess that the team or the owner had, is that Malone relied on Russell Westbrook too much.
I mean, but they got
Dude, there's a reason why he's won one championship, bro. There's a reason why the Denver Nuggets have been to the playoffs for the last 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah,
He
no,
knows
I
what
agree.
he's doing, bro. He
It's a
knows what he's
50-win
doing.
team. This is a 50-win team as well. So
Right.
what he's doing, like you said, you have a GM that literally is kind of already tying your hand behind your back, but he's still able to get 50 wins out of the squad. That's an achievement.
9 minutes, bro.
That's
While
ridiculous.
Peyton Washington, which I know he's a good defender, 18 minutes, 1 for 4, 2 rebounds, 2 points.
See, and
Right.
I'm gonna be hitting on this when we get to the Magic spoiler alert. I got some stuff to say about that. But yeah,
Yes,
it's like
sir.
going away from what works all season to try something
Right.
experimental and stupid for the postseason.
It's not the
Really
time to do
nice.
it.
There's
Not
a
the time.
reason why.
Not the time.
Yeah, there's a reason why certain teams are struggling to get wins and certain teams are 3-0 right now. So, you know,
Yeah, I just don't think I think Denver. Their starting core is a great starting core, but the bench is where the problem comes in for Denver. They're just not constructed
100%.
the way they should be,
oh yeah,
and I think LA will eventually take the series. I think Denver will give them everything they have, but I just don't think they're equipped to be able to hang with the Clippers. The Clippers are impressive, honestly. Like they look a lot better than I thought they were going to look. To be honest with you, they've been hot the last couple of months. I never really gave them credit until like the end of the season, but they look pretty damn good.
yep.
For
I,
the one, well, go ahead, BC.
I was just gonna say I could see Denver be squeaking out one more close win, and then after that though, it's all LA. I think
I think so,
I think Denver gets one more win at home to push it to a game 6, but then
right.
at LA, Clippers are gonna take care of business.
Yeah, I agree.
For the one viewer that's watching, please write.
No
Please-
one viewer.
Please write in the comments because I will give you $100 if
Hold on.
Russell Westbrook next game does not play more than 9 minutes. And if he plays more than 9 minutes, if he plays the same amount of minutes that he's supposed to play, you're gonna see how the Denver Nuggets either win or it's gonna be a close game. Write
I'll
in the
take that.
chat so I know who you are, and I will send you $100 if Russell Westbrook does not play more than 9 minutes.
It's
Does
one of
that
my
work for me
it's,
too?
it's one of my burner accounts, so I'll take that bet.
Exactly. All right, fellas, we're gonna move on from Russell Westbrook and the Denver Nuggets and move out to the East again as the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks are in a series now. Finally, we got the Indiana Pacers up 2-1 over Milwaukee. And fellas, it was an impressive outshowing from the Bucks. Finally, they showed up a little bit better this time. BC, man, you're up first, brother. What's your thoughts on the series, bro?
I mean, I think I was going to say, like, this is a matchup right here where it is funny that Indiana's up 2-1. Yet looking at ESPN again, worldwide leader in sports, their analytics still has Milwaukee favored 55 to 45% wise to win it. So, but Indiana, like a lot of people, I think kind of underestimated them in terms of where their seating is at. Like they just thought, oh yeah, they're just, it's like last year, they're just kind of a flash in the pan. They're going to get smoked by Milwaukee. But I think that a lot of people underestimate them for sure. I mean, obviously Tyrese Halliburton, but then you've also got Pascal Siakam, who's balling out right now as well for them. They've got a good 1-2 punch over there. The role players are playing really well. So Indiana, they're putting up a fight, and Milwaukee has been struggling a lot this year. Obviously, Dame and Giannis hasn't quite taken the step that we've expected them to take this year. So I didn't see Milwaukee necessarily winning this series, and I honestly could have seen Indiana pulling up another upset. It's not out of the question the way they've been. Both teams have been kind of going the opposite directions this year.
No, I agree.
So I agree with what you're saying that it could Indiana can pull out the upset, right?
Yep.
My only thing with Indiana is that, and Stevie and I talked about this. Indiana is a great home team, but when they play on the road, they're not. That is the role players of Indiana, and even Tyrese Halliburton. Like when they go and play at someone else's arena, they're a different type of person. They're not the bully no more. They're not the bully that you've seen in game 1 and 2. That they're out here like thinking they're all that super confident, walking with their chest up high, puffed, and all that. No, They're not like that when they go on the road. And that's what I didn't like about Indiana. And I've had people on Twitter come to me and start talking about Indiana and all this. It's like, no, man, that's fake tough. Indiana is fake tough because when they go on the road, they don't play like that. Miles Turner, 1 for 9, 0 for 6 in threes, 6 points. A lot of people wanted to say that he was an all-star.
I like Miles Turner, though. I do like Miles Turner.
I like him too. But you're really a superstar or an all-star when you play great on the road in the playoffs.
Yep.
When you play great at home, you're a role player. That's what role players do. Role players play great at home. They got the crowd behind them. They got the fans cheering them, of course. But when the pressure's on the other side is when you truly a baller or not. Andrew Nembhard, 2 for 8, 0 for 1 and 3, 6 points. Tyrese Halliburton, supposed 14. To be an all-star, right?
14.
5 for 11, 4 for 9 in threes, which he shot pretty good in the three-pointers, but those were most of his points, 14 points. And it's like, you can't be doing that if you're going to play on the road, right? But to play devil's advocate, to go on the other side, Milwaukee's not looking that good either.
No.
Giannis, obviously, we know what Giannis is going to do. Like, we alluded to this. He's going to put up 30, grab 12 boards. Literally, 37 and 12 boards.
Yep.
Yeah. Gary Trent Jr., 37
Shout out to
points.
him, man.
Dude, shout out to him, for real. 37 points. But this is what I'm talking about, role players being great at home. Great game 1 and 2, where the hell is Gary Trent Jr. at? Where the hell is he at? But look, 11 for 16, 9 for 12 in threes.
Wow. That's not going to happen again.
No, 100%. 100%. One viewer. No, actually, now we got 4 viewers. Let me know if he does that again.
They start populating, man.
Whatever. We'll put up the money.
See that though goes back to my point though, is that this series seems to be a lot of whoever's got home court advantage is going to take the series, and Indiana's got it. So for me, I guess we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. I'm getting ahead of it a little bit with the prediction, but I think Indiana is going to win this series. You know, ESPN, you're wrong.
But my thing is here, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on this to see what you guys think is going on with Damian Lillard, because he came back game 2. He did not play game 1. Came back game 2. He was rusty and all that. I get it. Game 3, you expect him to go off, right?
Yep.
2 for 12, 1 for 8 in threes, only 7 points, had 5 assists, 3 rebounds. He had 2 steals, so he was playing good on defense. But 7 points. You expect him?
I think that they might have rushed him back.
That's what it is? Okay.
Yeah, I think they might have rushed him back. I mean, he had a pretty serious, a very significant, life-threatening condition, and he comes back. What is it, like a month later, a couple weeks later? I think it's health. Honestly, I don't think he's totally right.
Yep, and that's the thing. You're rushing him back too soon as well. Like that's not going to be something that's going to help him in the long run. He's also older. He's an older player.
Right.
I don't think that they're rushing him. I think he's rushing himself because I feel like with the mentality that he has, he's like, nah, I'm not sitting out, bro. Forget that.
Right.
I'm trying to win a championship. This is why I want to get traded from the Trailblazers. Yeah, I wanted to go to a different team, but I went to the Milwaukee Bucks, which it's kind of the same chances of trying to win a championship with Giannis on the floor, of course. Yeah. But like he's just playing bad. And the other thing,
the whole experience has been kind of a letdown because I remember whenever it finally happened, everybody was like, "Man, Milwaukee is going to be a force in the East," and I don't feel like anybody really fears them per se.
Yep. No, not really.
They have no defense.
Yep. That was their calling card back in the day.
Yep. They gave up their defense. They let go of Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
They let go of several other players that can play perimeter defense, some interior defense as well. They let go of that. And, dude, this is what happens. Yep. And then you trade an all-star. Yes, he's old and he's injured in Chris Middleton. We alluded to this last time, Steve. You trade him away to try to get a younger player that you think he could do work, and Kyle Kuzma, only 9 points. First game, he had 0 of everything. Second game, he only scored like 7 points, and now he only scored 9 points. At home, when you think he can ball as a role player, but he can't.
Yeah, I just find it ironic as well, too, that we talked about it a couple episodes ago with this as well, is that they brought in Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers' MO is supposed to be a defensive guy, and like they've literally gotten less defense whenever they randomly fire. I forgot who the original head coach was, but they were winning games and everything, and then they bring in Doc Rivers. And then it's like, why did you guys do that? That makes no sense if you're supposed to be a defensive guys and guys have lost all your defensive prowess,
Yep. Well, I was gonna say I think it was Mike Budenholzer that used to coach them prior to Doc.
Right. Yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know. Like people I think have said before about with Budenholzer is that like he doesn't know how to make certain adjustments or whatever. But it's like dude still won you guys a championship. So like he was doing something right. And again,
honestly, how great is it to be Mike Budenholzer right now, man? Like he just got fired, but he's going to get paid for the he can't even get another job, but he's getting paid. I believe it's $10 million a year for the next like 3 years, something like that from the Phoenix Suns. Like, How fantastic is that? Like you're paying me not to work. Thank you.
Honestly. But I was gonna say as well, going back to Dame and Giannis though too, like with Dame's comments about Dame not going to the team that he would have preferred. We all know down in South Beach. How crazy would it be if somehow, some way, you had both Giannis and Dame jump ship to go to Miami? G Mike, I know you'd be like that.
I've been hearing that too.
Man, bro, I've been hearing so much stuff, man, that I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even talk about it. I've heard KD, I've heard Kyrie, I've heard Bradley Beal when he was good. I've heard John Wall. I've heard so much, bro, that at this point, anything that I hear, I'm just like,
till I see it.
Until I see it, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move from back out to the West Coast, man, and we got a kind of a surprise brewing out here a little bit. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves up 2-1 on the Los Angeles Lakers. BC, is this a surprise to you, or did you think this is what was going to happen?
Oh, man, you got Michael Jordan's son playing for the Timberwolves. Like, come on now. Ant-Man's going off.
Stop
man,
it.
It's the killer instinct. He's trying
Let me guess. He's the face of the league again, right?
Nah, well, not just that, dude. Like, he's taking the GOAT debate personal now. He's got to defend his father against LeBron.
For real,
and he took that personally.
Got daddy issues out there.
He does. But I mean, I think again, some people they see it as a surprise. You look at just the how the Lakers were playing down the stretch and everything, but it doesn't surprise me. Minnesota's always they've always had good defense. They've always had good the offense has been stepping up this year. You've got Ant, who again he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's in the postseason. We've seen him be able to make some noise in the first round, so I'm not surprised by it. And plus two, I think the Lakers with Luka, they are still figuring it out. And for people that think that
I was just looking at the stat line, LeBron is literally leading every category: points, rebounds, and assists. And if you have one of the greatest scorers of going right now in Luka, why is Luka not the primary scorer right now? I don't know.
And that's the problem, is that he's so used to being that engine for the team. So it's like when it comes to coming to the playoffs, having to ask him to take a step back and be like, hey, you don't have to do as much. It's not something that he's used to. So again, for everybody that thinks that this can be just like 2K, we just throw guys in and it just magically you win the championship like that. That's not how it works. You do need to have chemistry. And so I think that, again, the series is still young, and I think that it can still go either way. But I think that if LA does lose, this is a good learning experience for Luka to figure out how to play with LeBron. And again, I see LeBron coming back for another season next year. So it's not like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the road for him. So
and I think that the biggest issue is it's the same issue the Lakers have had for most of the season, is that they don't really have much for big men. They need to get some sort of size in there, and they're playing really small ball whenever they're unfortunately they had to go against Minnesota, who does have a lot of big men, and that's like they can't match up very well with that. I think on paper, if you would take like the Lakers if there's like a 1-game series, I think the Lakers would be fine. But I think in a 7-game series, it's going to be hard for them to be able to defend and the opposite, to score on these big guys. Minnesota is full of them.
Agreed. But then the thing is, like, who do you try to make a deal for to get in the offseason for a big man? That's my question.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Free agency is going to be interesting for the Lakers because they clearly have a glaring need. And so I think that their core, you got Luka, you got Austin Rivers not Austin Rivers, excuse me, Austin Reeves. He's playing pretty well. Their need is pretty obvious. They need to get a scoring big man, I think, or a defending big man that can facilitate with them. So I think that that's a easy one, and to be able to match up with LeBron and Luka, and then you add another guy there, I think it's an easy sell for somebody because that's it might be like LeBron's last dance, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hey, we're going all in this year.
I mean, if they'll listen to the Magic, I'll trade Dell for Dalton Connect. I'll take that. Give me some shooting out here. I'll take it.
Yeah. Hey, actually, the Mavs probably would take Luka back. I'm just throwing out there. Just like Nico, we didn't realize how important he was to Dallas. I mean, weird,
Right.
right?
Done for, kid.
Right?
That's
Nah,
done
in
for,
this league,
kid.
there's no takebacks,
Done for.
unfortunately. So,
Ugh,
No takebacks.
yeah. That's how it rolls.
don't even start on that one.
I agree with what you guys are saying about the big men. They definitely do need a big man presence because Jackson Hayes is not doing it. Obviously, Alex Len is not even getting playing time, and they traded for
right.
him mid-season. But everything else, I disagree with. The Lakers do not need to worry, bro. Luka had 17 points with only 6 made shots. He went 6 for 16. He went 2 for 8 in threes. He had 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Bro, if he makes a couple more shots, they're in this game. And again, Jaden McDaniels, shout out to him because he went off again, right? 13 for 22, 1 for 5 in threes with 30 points. He went off again because there's no big man presence, right?
Right.
Yep.
But do we see him doing this the whole series, right? He's done it 2 out of 3 games. So he's done it most of the time right now. Shout out to him. He's proving everybody wrong. But we were right in the sense Naz Reid, only 11 points off the bench.
Yeah.
He didn't go off again. So like I told you last time, Steve, if one of them goes off again, the other one is not. And
correct. Yeah.
proven to be right here, right?
Yep.
But if you just look at the points, like Luka's still the primary scorer still, but he just was
he doesn't really look right though either. Like it doesn't look I don't know if he's completely healthy as well, but it just doesn't look like the same Luka magic that was there. And I don't know if it's that trade may have affected his mental or whatever the hell it is, or he's just still trying to figure out how to play with LeBron. But I don't feel like he looks the same as he did in Dallas though, right? Am I crazy on that one? Or maybe I'm just wanting him to come back to Dallas?
I don't think that's far-fetched from saying. I think yeah, he can be playing differently, but remember, it's an adjustment. He just got traded mid-season, and
right.
he's supposed to be a franchise player that you don't even think about trading ever. And then it happened to him, right? You saw in the tribute video that he went back to Dallas, how emotional he was. So I think it has affected his mindset 100%. He's still trying to figure out how to play with all these players, not even just LeBron, with all these players on the Lakers, right?
Yeah, especially because right. He was the primary guy in Dallas. They built the team around his skill set and what he does. Now you're going to another team that's not necessarily built around you.
And in Dallas, he had more players that he can give the ball to, that he can rely on shooting the ball and making points. The Lakers don't. The Lakers have Austin Reeves and Dorian Finney-Smith Jr. that he played with Luka, but he only had 8 points. He didn't do much. He didn't do anything.
Finney-Smith, even in Dallas, was never necessarily a scorer. He was a great defender. That was like his big MO. He was like a great defender.
3-and-D guy. He was a 3-and-D guy. Like he was a 3-and-D guy. And that's what he is in the Lakers as well. But they in Dallas, he had a little bit more than he had in the Lakers, right?
Yep.
But just talking about game 3, he just had a bad game. And he still scored 17 points. If he had a decent game and he makes 3 more of those shots, they're in this game. They're down by 4 points.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think the Lakers need to worry at all. I think that the role player Jaden McDaniels, he's having a great series so far. I don't think he can sustain it. I think Luka's not going to have a bad series the whole time. Like
I'm still taking the Lakers points series for sure.
The first 2 games he scored 30 points. Yeah, he goes to Minnesota and he has a bad game. All right. Again, 6 viewers on this. I bet you 100%, $100. Next game he goes for 25 or 30 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the Lakers have to worry at all. And then for the people on Twitter that say like, I love the fact that on Twitter they be talking about how, oh wow, LeBron had a bad game 1, and he wasn't helping Luka, and he wasn't doing this, and blah blah blah. Tell me about it now. 38 points, 13 for 29, 13 for 21. I'm sorry, 5 for 9 in threes. What did I tell you, Steve? That he has to shoot more threes, right? He has to be making those threes. Dude, 7 for 10 in free throws, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Bro,
how about that all at 39 too?
Was he 40 now? You guys need to watch basketball.
That's insane. At his age, that's still just impressive as hell.
38 points in a game 3 playoff game, 40 years old, bro.
Yep.
Like, dude, you guys hate too much, bro. You guys on Twitter hate too much, bro.
Yep. So I mean, I
You lose there for a second.
Your mic went off. Your mic went off.
Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Hey, welcome back. Gotta love live television.
I don't know what the heck happened there, man. Everybody's got technical
Technology,
issues today,
baby. Technology.
Got some phantom issues right here. No, but I will say though, I do agree that LeBron, people giving him way too much crap. You got to respect the man. He's earned it. As far as the series goes though, I think that there's still going to be too much chemistry issues. I think that Minnesota was able to get that crucial win on the road, and I think that that's going to be the difference maker in this series. So I think this goes to 6, but I've got Minnesota wrapping it up. I think.
Interesting. I'm sticking with the Lakers still. I think I agree with. I think that Luka's not going to have like another night like that, and I think that they'll figure it out. But I'm still sticking with the Lakers, and just because I have a thing against Anthony Edwards.
I
think. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't think Minnesota wins another game. And that's it. I think it's done for Minnesota. I think Lakers win everything else from here on out. I think Luka's gonna turn it up. I think LeBron he'll maybe slow down next game for sure. But the bench players are gonna turn it up. They're gonna be more aggressive on defense. They're gonna be more physical because Minnesota's a very physical team. And then Luka's not gonna have a bad shooting night like this again. Again, game 1 and 2, he had 30 points.
Yeah. Right. All right, we'll go ahead and jump back to the East Coast. We got a great series going out there. We got the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons, man. New York Knicks are up 2-1. BC, what's going on with this one, man? This is an interesting series.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Most of these series have been, some of them, you have your series like OKC and Memphis where it's just like, okay, yeah, we all predicted this. But some of these ones though too, where even the close ones, it's pretty neck and neck for most of them. And I mean, as far as New York, like I expected them to handle business. Like I expected them to have the lead, but Detroit's done a pretty good job of keeping these games close. Like the biggest lead or the biggest margin of victory in the series was 11 points in game 1. And after that, it's been 6 and then 2. So it's been like Detroit's done a really good job. Like shout out to them. Like a lot of people, I think it's all safe to say none of us expected them to be this good this year. Like, yeah, Cade Cunningham, we expected to take steps. We expected him to have a really great season, which he has, and shout out to him. But really a lot of the role players have stepped up in Detroit, and they've kind of taken a lot of the crap that people have said on Twitter personally, and they've done a really great job of just, really overachieving this season. And I mean, it's a good sign for them. It's a franchise that has really struggled for a long time. Yeah. Since the mid 2000s, once Rashid and Ben Wallace, all those guys like retired, like they've been struggling. So it's a positive sign for them. However, again, New York's New York. They're the guys with all the star power. It's funny to me how this series is a lot closer than the Pacers and Bucks. I've got ESPN pulled up over here. 53-67. Like this one's a lot closer than the Bucks one. So it's like it just kind of astonishes me the way ESPN like analytics does their things. But
it's in favor for who? For the Knicks?
Yeah, it's a slimmer margin in favor of the team with the 2-1 lead versus Indiana and Milwaukee, who it's in favor of the team down 2-1. So it's like and it's a wider margin. But yeah, Cade Cunningham, he's averaging 26 in this series. Brunson also averaging 26. So it's been that's on the season. My bad. I gotta pull up the postseason stats there. But both teams have been balling out. It's been a close series so far, and I believe tomorrow, I think it's at 1 p.m. we're gonna get game 4. So, but shout out to Detroit, New York. I mean, New York's staying on the business, but Detroit's been doing everything they can to stay in this one.
Yeah, I was picking Detroit actually to pull off the upset in this one over New York. But I love me some Jalen Brunson. I can't lie. I wish he would have stayed in Dallas. I think he is an amazing player. He's a great franchise player. So I will not be upset if they do advances because I love his game. I like the person. I think Jalen Brunson's just awesome. But I'm picking Detroit still in this one. I like the grittiness of Detroit. I think that they're just going to be able to outlast New York.
The new grit and grind, you could say?
Yeah.
No, same here. Same here. No, I like Detroit for sure. And you just look at the stats, right? Because like I was watching this game in and out. One, I would say that New York showed its veteran status and they came out punching this game. while Detroit was
Right.
taking a back seat into the second half. But I give props to Detroit. You know, they're a young team, right? They have a few veteran leaders, but they're a young team, but they still come out in the second half and they come out punching. Even though it was a close game back to back, the whole game for sure. But
Yep.
I feel like Detroit sometimes does play like their age, though. They
Yeah,
don't play like they
100%.
don't play like veterans sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It shows. It shows. And in this game, I really got to put the fault on Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has shown year after year after year that he can be super inconsistent. He showed it this game. 32 minutes, 2 for 9 in field goals, 1 for 3 in threes, 6 rebounds, 5 points.
Yeah.
That is literally the difference maker in this game. Detroit lost by 2. If you make 2 more shots, you guys win.
Yep.
Don't want to really put it on anybody. It's always a team effort, but sometimes, you know, you got to call a spade a spade.
Correct.
And right now, Tobias Harris, you did not have a good game 3. It happens. You better bounce back game 4 because you guys are at home. You're a role player. You better show out. You better make more than 5 points. You better have 10 points in this game.
Right, and that Detroit crowd's going to bring it too. So, like, I agree. I think they bounce back next game.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, as I will say this, like I know you guys are kind of leaning more towards Detroit in this one. I think that Detroit's able to get the win back at home. But I will say that I think Game 6, I think they tied up here, but I think Game 6 is going to be the one that decides the series. And New York, for all the crap we've been kind of saying so far, they have a winning record on the road. So, like, they do a good job of being able to kind of silence the crowd a little bit, you know, the away crowd. And I think that Game 6, when they play back in Detroit, I think that that's going to be the difference maker. And I think that they'll be, if they don't pull it out in Game 5, if they have to have a do or die situation, I see them still pulling it out in Game 6, and I think that that's where they'll seal it.
Yeah, and I think if New York does take the next game tomorrow, I think the series is done. I think it's done.
Yeah,
because I think the inexperience is just
going to die for them. Yeah, I can get on board with that.
I think the Pistons.
All right, well, we got another series going back out west. The last one in the west for us over here. We got the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors, and the Rockets came out and they won game. They won in the last game. It's a tied series now, 1-1. This one's interesting. Mike, brother, you're up first, man. Like that Jimmy thing is a big thing. What do you think is going to happen now?
That Jimmy thing is a big thing. Like we alluded to in the last episode, man. There's no one else that can help Steph Curry score, man.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler went out in the first quarter because of the whole, and we could get into it later, but the whole thing that happened with Draymond Green, Usher Thompson, all that. Amon Thompson, I'm sorry, and all that, right? So he goes out in the first quarter. He only plays 8 minutes. He had one made bucket, which was it was a 2-pointer with a field goal, with a free throw attempt. He made the free throw, so he had 3 points. He goes out. All the attention turns to Steph Curry because no one else can score. You got Steph Curry with 20 points. Right. He only had 20 because they were playing such great defense on him because there's no one else to give the ball to.
Yep.
20 points. The next leading scorer was in the starters, Moses Moody with 12 points. On the bench, Jonathan Kuminga, he didn't play in game 1 and game 2. He comes off the bench. He scores 11 points. You got Quentin Post with 12 points. You got Pat Spencer with 12 points and with 11 points. But that was garbage time. That was at the end of the game that he got more minutes because they're already getting their butts whooped. But the point is, no one can help Steph Curry score, bro. And if Jimmy Butler doesn't come back, the series is done. The Rockets are winning every single game.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I was on board for Golden State, but if Jimmy can't play, then I agree. I don't think Golden State can hang.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's not playing game 3. He's not playing today, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a big thing.
Houston's got just enough firepower on offense, and they play so well together as a team on defense. I don't really see Golden State being able to rebound and recover from this. I know the series is 1-1, but like you said, you know, Jimmy's questionable at best in this series. And again, Houston's just been showing that they swarm. They really have a great energy on both sides of the ball. It's a youthful energy. Like, they're a very young team, and they're just able to just decimate you when you've got the ball in your hands. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing how the NBA is constructed, if you will, because there's so few players in the league or that actually play or something like that. Like a Jimmy going down, you got other sports, you lose a guy, next man up mentality and stuff. But basketball is so important to have your core together that it can change everything. As amazing as Steph is, Steph can't do it on his own, and he literally is pretty much doing it on his own at this point. And Houston, even though they're young, they're playing so well gelled together. They got good defense. They can score. Jalen Green is playing fantastic. They look, without Jimmy, that team is not the same. They look almost like how Golden State did midseason, where everybody's like, "This is over."
Exactly.
All right. Well, there's a lot to be TBD on that series. It really comes down to Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler can play, I still have confidence in Golden State. Go ahead.
Did you guys see the play where Jimmy got injured?
That looked like it hurt.
What are your opinions on that? Because a lot of people are saying that it was Draymond Green's fault. A lot of people are saying that Amen Thompson's fault. And there's several people that are saying that Jimmy should have never been in the act of trying to get that rebound, which I think is ridiculous. But I've seen it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny how you can take a play and like if he wasn't supposed to be in it, then like you're questioning his want to win and all this other stuff. But so he's going for the ball, he's doing what playoff Jimmy does, and he's being aggressive. But then that got hurt in that aspect of it. So like it's amazing how people can take a narrative and twist it around however that fits whatever they want to say about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a fluky thing. Like stuff happens.
Yeah, honestly, like it's one of those situations where you can't control it, and to try to blame it on one of his own teammates as well. It's like no, like yeah, Draymond Green intentionally wants to hurt Jimmy Butler because he's nuts. Like no, it happens. It's basketball. It's freak accident.
I think when I first saw it, I was like, damn, Draymond just pushed a man into Jimmy, and it caused Jimmy to have a back contusion, and he was out for the rest of the game. And now that we know he's out for game 3, when I really looked at the video in different angles and several times, it looks like Ahmed just threw himself at Jimmy, right?
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah,
you kind of question it, like, yeah, did he really throw himself, or was he off balance? Did he slip and blah blah blah, whatever? But looking at his track record throughout the whole season, he's done a lot of dirty plays to several players. He's done one, to be honest, that he's literally jumped on his back and grabbed them from the back. He's done one to someone else. I think it was Pat Spencer in game 2 that he's running down the court and he just throws an elbow right at his neck. Like quick, subtle, that you don't really notice if you're not looking at him as a ref.
So you think refs need to be paying attention to him a little bit more?
Yes, I do think the refs need to be paying attention to him a little bit more because I feel like he is kind of a dirty player. He is a player that is well known for his defense. He's a pretty good offensive player too. He's a well-rounded offensive player, but he's very well known for his defense. And the same thing with his brother on the Pistons, right? I think his brother on the Pistons is less dirty than Amen, but I think Amen, he does happen to do dirty plays, and I feel like with this play, it kind of relates to that. I feel like if you really watch it from different angles, there's no way that Draymond pushed him. Like, there's no momentum there of him pushing him. And then there's no way that I believe that there's no way that he slipped and just threw his whole body forward at Jimmy. There's no way. I feel like if you slip at the angle that he was on and the position that he had his body and his legs, if you slip, you're falling face first into the floor. There's no way that you're going forward out of bounds towards the player that is going for the rebound. I don't know. I think it was a dirty play. I think it needs to be investigated. And honestly, if it was Draymond Green, he probably would have been suspended the whole series already.
Yeah, I can buy that. I mean, that track record is there for Draymond, but yeah, no, I think they just maybe paying attention a little bit more to those kind of plays because you don't want to see your stars go out.
No.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to go back out to the East for the last series in this one, and Mr. BC, your Orlando Magic squeaked out a win. They got a win against the defending champion Boston Celtics. BC, buddy, what's your thoughts?
Congratulations, we did it. I mean, it was good. all right, like sarcasm aside, a win's a win. You get it against the defending champions. That's great. You're able to win close at home. Also, too, shout out to getting a win for Paul Porter, the GOAT announcer. Like, happy to see him be able to call a Magic playoff win. Like with all the stuff going on around about that. But that aside, this series has been frustrating for sure. Missing Jalen Suggs definitely hurts us for sure in this series. But the fact that this whole series, Corey Joseph has been getting starters minutes and has been averaging 26 minutes a game. There's no defending it. I don't care. I don't want to hear the people say, "Oh, well, he's a veteran and he really helps the starters gel together. He had 2 steals in one game. Oh, so good." Yeah, 26 minutes. Let's take a look. 4 points a game.
How many shots is he taking too? Like he's not even shooting the ball either.
Yeah, he's shooting. Oh yeah, he's averaging. Let's take a look. He's averaging 3 to 4 shots a game.
Right. You can't have that.
But he's shooting 37% from 3. Yeah, on almost 3 shots a game. Like,
right.
My guy, why are you not starting Anthony Black? I get it. He's a young guy and earn a spot in the rotation. He was solely drafted for the purposes of taking over playmaking duties for this Magic squad. Oh, he's a big point guard. His playmaking, his defense, all the things that, that's something that we might need in a playoff series against the defending champions. He's 6'7". He's a defensive stopper. We got to stop Jaylen Brown. We've got to stop Tristan. Not Tristan. We got to stop Jason Tatum. Like, what's the hang up here? I don't get it. You're giving KCP, Anthony Black, and Gary Harris almost the same amount of minutes over Anthony Black. Like, it's so frustrating to me.
Hell, I'd rather see Anthony in there than Corey Joseph.
Yeah, honestly, like give me these younger players that, you could say that, Cole Anthony is streaky, but he at least has the camaraderie with the guys to go out there and it's like he's a dog enough to be like, hey, I want to go win this series with my guys. Not some rando that you just plucked out of the bargain bin because you're too cheap to sign like difference makers or whatever. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just frustrating. Like
this dude in like the clearance at Walmart with the $5 DVDs.
Yeah, it's like, we could trade for LaMelo Ball, but no, that's not going. No, we need Corey Joseph.
There it is. That's the answer.
That's the difference. That's going to be a finals maker right there. But
it was a cool name, Kojo. Come on, man.
Seriously though, but my thing is, and again, Boston's Boston. They were going to win this series. I still expect them to probably take this one either in Game 5 or maybe they take it to Game 6. But this is not going to 7. But again, if you're
like we're talking about before, we both kind of said that I think Orlando will win 1, possibly 2 at the most, but it'll be 1 at least.
If they're going to win it at home, if anything, if they force a Game 6, they're not winning. They're not going to win it back at home. But my thing is that also too, Wendell Carter Jr. getting 30 minutes or 31 minutes, Goga Bitadze getting 5 minutes. This dude is a walking double-double everywhere you go. And yeah, he's not the most quick defender or whatever, but Dell hasn't been either. Like, I don't understand some of the decision-making and placing the minutes with certain players. And obviously, I don't want to make this all about the Magic. It's just, it's frustrating because we should be trusting guys like Cole Anthony. We should be trusting guys like Anthony Black, guys that we brought in to like, okay, let's see what they do in the postseason. These guys are part of the core. Let's see what they can do before we decide what we want to do with them. As opposed to, yeah, we know we've been rocking with you for the last 2 or 3 years, but we're going to bench you and bring in, this guy that would probably be a 10th stringer on any other team. It just doesn't make sense.
Folks, if you guys don't know Mr. BC Brandon over here, he's one of the nicest humans I've ever met in my life. And to see him this frustrated, I don't know, Magic, you better start listening, my man. Because
I'm so mad. I couldn't even bust out this.
This is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life.
I couldn't even bust out the title belt. I'm that disappointed.
I'm disappointed in you, BC.
Why? Why?
Because you need to be more angry. How is it? How is it? Wait, real quick, and then I'll let you. How is it that KCP is
Yep.
an NBA champion for 2 different franchises because
Yep.
of him playing defense and 3-point shooting. And
Yep.
he goes to the Magic and he hasn't done crap. And then in game 3, where you're playing at home, when you have more of a momentum with the crowd chanting your name and all that, you go 1 for 9 and 0 for 6 and 3, only 3 points.
That sounds like a player you should pay $60 million for.
Exactly. I will say this.
Yo, pay me, and I promise you I'll go out there and I'll foul out every time. Jason Tatum will play game 4, game 5. Jaylen Brown will play game 4. Bro, I'll go out there and I'll just foul everybody, and that's it. It is what it is. Get kicked out the league, but I win you guys a series.
You're taking the Happy Gilmore approach.
I will say this. I love the Magic when it comes to drafting young players, as they have knocked it out with Paolo, Franz, and Suggs. Not questioning that at all. Even guys, Anthony Black, Tristan da Silva. I like those guys.
Jed hasn't really done much. That was kind of that one really hasn't really worked out, I don't think, for Orlando.
Who?
Jed Howard. I don't think he's really worked out.
No. Tristan, my bad, not Jed Howard. Tristan da Silva, Anthony Black. Those guys. Like, yeah, Jed Howard. He's kind of a tweener at this point. But as far as even some of their free agent signings, like their free agent signings for me have been where they've kind of struggled, especially the veterans, KCPs, your Corey Josephs, your Joe Ingles. We called him Jingles back in the day. Like those guys, like they have not really had a great track record with bringing in veterans. And the problem is it's a smaller market, and until they're able to kind of get over the hump with their natural talent, it's going to be difficult to bring in veterans at this point. It's just natural. And big reason why I'm not madder is because, I can only say I was gonna say I'm not madder, or I am mad, but it's just I have to watch what I say because they sign my paychecks, so I gotta be careful with that. So,
right.
But again,
so if you want me to say it for you, just send me a text. I'll say it for sure.
No, but
you might be your anger translator, like in Key and Peele.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Powell's been balling out in the series, over 30 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, stealing a block. What more can you ask for from your star player? Franz is doing a great job as well. 27, 4, and 6. Or actually, no, we're going to round up 27, 5, and 6 with almost 2 steals. Like that, those guys are set when Suggs gets back next year, too. It's going to be more of the same. Like those 3 guys are the benchmarks. But now, again, as a franchise, you want to start seeing who are going to be those 4th, 5th options for you. And to Dell's credit, he has stepped up in the postseason. Regular season, he wasn't really doing a whole lot. Maybe that's because they kind of play a little bit too much with him and Goga, like starting back and forth. But he's averaging 10 and 11 on the series, which it's fine. It's a double-double. I would like to see him have more of an impact in rim protection because he's your center and he's not leading the team in blocks. That's a little problematic, but I want to see more Anthony Black. I want to see what he can do. He's a young kid, and I've seen flashes of greatness from him on both ends of the court. Why don't you try? You're down 2-1. You're at home. Why not, for one series, start the young guy that I think deserves the opportunity to start at home in front of that Orlando Magic crowd? And then, if you want to still give Corey Joseph some decent numbers, fine, but I just think that we're getting AB reps in the postseason with Paolo and Franz is going to be best for his development.
Well, I'll tell you what your 4th option is going to be, and he was on the national champion University of Florida Gators, Mr. Walter Clayton Jr. That's who the hell you guys need to draft right there, Mr. Clayton Jr.
I wouldn't be opposed to him. I mean, he's probably going to, depending on how this goes, he might be sitting behind Corey Joseph next year. So we don't know.
He might end up in like possibly a 2nd round somewhere in there, but that would be the perfect fit for Orlando. He's a local kid. That'd be awesome for Orlando. That's my thought just right there. I'm hoping that they do it.
I'd be happy with it. I also wouldn't mind them, finding a center that they can finally stop playing half and half and just go all in with their big men. So.
It wouldn't be a weekend show if I didn't get to mention Florida Gators in there somehow.
Just a little mention, like a good 10 minute, feed.
Yeah,
but as far as the series goes, like as frustrated as I am with the Magic, I think we all kind of expected it. They've been injured this whole season. They're putting up a great fight for what it's worth. Their stars are, and I think Boston wins Game 4. I think that they gave them their home win. They take Game 4. I think Boston seals it at Game 5. this is a year for the Magic, I think, to kind of just get better in the offseason, maybe try to find a little bit more of not an identity, but just find maybe a bigger free agent to bring in, maybe a bigger, a little more star power veteran to bring in, and then draft well. It's just kind of more of that smaller building block for the future. And then Boston, they're Boston. They're doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're
good.
They're best for the reason.
Flat out
Really,
good.
there's nothing else to say about them. They're Boston.
Good.
Boston.
All right, fellas. Do you guys have anything else on these playoff basketballs? Because we're about to jump into the NFL draft, which I'm super excited about.
KCP.
KCP is more SMH, man. Just shaking my head. I don't know.
Shout out to Wendell Carter Jr. to stepping up, man, because it's only been Pablo and Franz on the offensive side this whole series.
Right.
Yep.
And he stepped up, and I really wish the Magic win next game so I could go to that game 6.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
And I mean, I've been, like I said, I've kind of dogged Dell a little bit at times just because I see a lot more in him than I think that he's been capable of producing. And a lot of it is because he gets hurt. But when he's on it, he's a double-double machine. He can switch really well on defense. He can spread the floor on offense, and he can play really good basketball. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Orlando is on the right track. I just don't think it's their year, it's their time yet. But I think they have the pieces, and they're going in the right direction.
Oh yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, that's going to wrap up for our NBA coverage there. And now we're going to go ahead and bounce out to the gridiron, man. We have some major stuff going on in football. We have the NFL draft, baby. And, man, this has been a wild draft for a couple different reasons. BC, your Tampa Bay Bucks made an interesting move with their first-round pick. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, for sure. Like, right now I'm trying to pull up our draft board real quick as well just because – hold on. You caught me a little flat-footed there. Because I got his name wrong the first night, so it's like I got to make sure I read it right. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. I was at the draft party when they made that pick, and I was shocked. I really was. I was like, okay, this is different. We're going wide receiver. And my best friend who was there with me, my best man, Bruni, shout out to him if you're watching this. Literally, his reaction was like, no, why? The reaction of the night. And I mean, it was a surprising one for sure because you look at the Bucks on paper, they need linebacker, they need cornerback, they need another edge rusher for the rotation, and I understand the rationale for it. You lost Mike Evans and Chris Brown for significant stretches of the season last year. You also lost Jalen McMillan at some point as well. My thing is, the offense was still scoring well over 20 points a game during that stretch. The defense, the reason why we went 0-4 during those games was because the defense gave up well over 20 points. So my thing is, why are we putting so much pressure on the offense to have to carry the load for defense? Was like, well, no, why don't we just balance out the defense a little bit? And I also, too, get that you're trying to plan ahead for the future with Mike Evans getting older, but he's only 32. You know who's on the defense that's few years older than Mike Evans? Lavonte David. That would have been nice to get. The fact that Jod Campbell was kind of looked over because, he's coming off a shoulder injury. Well, you know who he drafted in the second round that's coming off an injury as well? Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Ohio State. Or not Ohio State, Notre Dame. Sorry. Freudian slip there. I am still, at the end of the day, I see the move that Jason Light's doing. He's wanting to get that offense to really make sure that they have everything. They have weapons galore for Baker. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. I get it. I think that it will pay off. I do have faith that they will find some good diamonds in the rough in day 3. They found some good ones in day 2. There's just, again, some of those initial questions, and I still kind of do have them a little bit. But again, you addressed your cornerback needs in round 2 and 3, getting Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. You've got your outside corner drafted. You've got your nickel corner drafted. That's covered. Now I want to see in rounds 4 and 5, I want to see linebacker addressed, and I want to see edge rusher addressed. And there's still plenty of talent on both positions there. But I want to see them kind of fill those holes now.
Yeah, no, that was a surprise to me too. Especially when they had McMillan there. They just recently drafted, and like that one was kind of a shocker for me as well.
I think first base had a Rays game too.
What's that?
I said I said McMillan also, throughout the first pitch at one of the most recent Rays games too, got to put him up. So I was like, oh dang, dude, I cannot imagine how you must be feeling right now.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Yeah, that's got to be a shock. Be like, wait a second, what did I do here? Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
It's like, did I just get bumped down to wide receiver? Oh shoot.
Right.
Nah,
Yeah, I think overall, though, I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be a fantastic pro. I just was shocked that the Bucks made that call there. I think he's going to be an amazing player, though. All the accounts of what he does off the off field, and he just shows he's a pro in college is what they're pretty much calling him. Like you never hear anything out of him. He just shows up. He's the first one to get the practice, last one to leave kind of guy. So I think it's a good pick. I just was surprised that the Bucks made that one.
Well, and if you look at how Jason Light has drafted recently, that's kind of more of his style is building that culture of guys who are professionals. Like he got burned early on in the draft process by guys like Jameis Winston, guys like Vernon Hargraves, who kind of struggled with that professionalism in in their careers starting off. So I think he kind of learned from that, and he's leaning more into now, okay, well let's not just draft based on pure talent, but let's also see who are good culture fit guys that are going to be professional, guys that are going to be a benefit, not just kind of a nuisance, so to say. And there were some guys that had those question mark concerns for sure, like Mike Green, guys like that, guys, dynamic edge rusher, but off field issues. So that's kind of how you could say it, like that's kind of how Light's been drafting. So it doesn't surprise me with the character because again, Egbuka's stand-up guy. So and I think that he will be in time. Him and McMillan will be a great 1-2 punch for the future.
No, I agree. Mr. G Mike, man, you're how about them Cowboys, bro? What's your thoughts on this year's draft, buddy? How is that going for you?
I like it, bro. I like it. I wanted McMillan in with our first pick, but he went 5 picks before us to the Carolina Panthers. I think we were going to choose him, but I think we addressed positions that we actually needed to address. Obviously, we needed a guard with some of ours retiring. And Tyler Booker, he seems like a guy that can go out there and just play the hard nose in the trenches, and he's going to block for his quarterback and he's going to block for his running backs. I like that pick. In the second round, we addressed it. The edge. We needed an edge with DeMarcus Lawrence being out. We got Donovan. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
Ezeraku.
From Boston College.
I watched him.
I watched a couple of his tapes. I've read a couple of stuff on him. He seems like a great guy to fit with us. A great guy for the defensive line. I was watching the Michael Parsons podcast. He really likes him. So I think it was dope. And then in the third round, we addressed our cornerback issue. I wish we would have gotten Barron. I think that would have been dope as well. But I think addressing the guard status with the first round pick was actually better for us. I think we need someone who's going to, like I said, protect for Dak Prescott, protect for our running backs, and get our offense going. So I think our draft went really well. Just to speak on your draft pick with the Bucks,
I thought the Cowboys were going to maybe get him, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought we were going for McMillan. I thought that's what was going to happen. And then since, like you said, like Egbuka is a smaller receiver. He's not a big guy like McMillan. I don't think we need more small receivers. I think we're
kind of reminds me of Brandon Cooks a little bit.
Yeah,
Chris Godwin even.
We're already good in that department. I think we need someone huge, right? And which is why we wanted to go for McMillan. But since he wasn't there, we're like, you know what? Let's address the other issues that we have, and I think it's been pretty good for us, right?
Yeah.
For you guys, for the Bucks, I think you guys should have gone Barron. I think you guys should have addressed your defense. I don't think your offense needs addressing. You got Chris Godwin,
right?
You got Mike Evans. You know, you got some pretty other good receivers. You got Sterling Shepard.
Came into his own.
Well, he has a good connection with Baker Mayfield. I don't think that you guys should have gone in. Not saying that he's not going to be good for you guys, but I think you should have addressed with their first round pick a defensive player for sure. And I think you should have gone Bear.
And my thing is with draft strategy is there's always the two mindsets of either best player available or for fit or need. Yeah. And for us, he wasn't even the best player available at the time. Like Barron was the best player available and he fit probably the biggest team need for us. So I would have rather have gotten him, like you said. And like you said, Ibuka's not the biggest guy. He's more of a Chris Godwin type of guy. So it's like, why not wait until the later rounds when you did have some of those bigger bodied receivers that you could maybe bring in as a Mike Evans successor? That's the whole point. Like, if you want Mike Evans and Chris Godwin 2.0, well, McMillan kind of has a little bit of that Chris Godwin body type as well. So why are we being redundant and having the same player on this team? Whereas sometimes some in the later rounds, you have more of a Mike Evans type waiting for you there. And I will say to you guys, getting Ezraku like that, that's going to be a scary pass rush duo with him and Micah Parsons. Like,
Yeah.
both, it would not surprise me to see Ezraku winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, lining up opposite of Micah, because he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. He's already got, again, he's not a character concern, so that he's going to be available almost every game. He hasn't had any injury issues to my knowledge. And then the production has been consistent. And he's a consistent athlete too. So it would not surprise me at all to see you guys having a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate in Donovan Ezraku. And he's a
No,
steal.
and then just I'm gonna let Steve talk about it, but
Yeah.
I loved the fact that the Colts picked up Tyler Warren. I think that was a great pick. Great
Dude.
pick for the Colts.
Humongous need. That's exactly the player
Gronk
that
lights.
I wanted them to grab. I was so excited when that's what it was. I was honestly, wishful thinking that there's no way he's going to fall. And then the fact that the Bears got Loveland instead of Warren.
Yeah, I was
if they're
surprised.
going- if they're
Seriously.
going for a tight
I
end,
was like, okay.
I was like, this guy's not even the best. He's nowhere near the best in the class. And then
right.
I love the comparison of Warren on the drafting. It said Gronk light, and I was like, and then they did the player comp for Chicago's pick, and I'm like, Mark Andrews versus Gronk. I'm gonna take Gronk 10 times out of 10. Give me a guy that can block and catch, not just a guy that's got good hands.
What I love about what Warren's going to bring to the Colts is that the Colts, they have some decent wide receivers. I wouldn't say anybody. I mean, Michael Pittman is good. I wouldn't say their wide receiver core is one of their strong points, but this guy can play everything. He literally played every position in college. That's insane. He played quarterback at one point in time for a couple snaps. Like, the kid can do it all. So I think with Shane Steichen, being that he's a pretty good offensive mind, can run some different plays, I think that Warren's going to be all over the place. And I love the idea of, like, they're kind of saying maybe like a Gronk-ish kind of situation, because I think the guy can line up anywhere. He can block. I wouldn't even be surprised if he played linebacker at some point or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy literally is just a football player. So I think it was a team need. They needed a tight end really, really bad. And B, you got best player available, I feel like, at that point, especially with team need. Like, that worked out great. And I also love the second pick they had. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I tried practicing before I even get it, but I know we got another JT on the team at Ohio State. I think that's a fantastic pick. That guy is a game wrecker. And also, they addressed the cornerback need in the third round. So I think that the Colts have done a fantastic job with the draft. I'm very happy with what they've did. And they didn't have to move. They didn't have to make any trades. They just got exactly the spots they needed at the spots they were. So I think this was a fantastic draft for them, and they still have more picks to come, obviously. But I'm really, really excited for what the Colts did. So Indiana, baby, I'm excited for the Colts.
Yeah, you guys got a tank at quarterback, and now you got a tank at tight end too, man. Like, it's
a huge year for the Colts, honestly. Like, this is really, really a big year because this really comes down to Anthony Richardson. You got a great tight end, which is supposed to be a quarterback's best friend, especially an accurate quarterback like Anthony Richardson is so far. He's really going to have to step up. But you have a Swiss Army knife, is what they've been calling him, at a tight end position. He can line up anywhere on the field and be perfectly fine. So it's really going to come down to Anthony Richardson this year. And in the offseason, I've heard in the offseason that he got with Josh Allen, and he went and started working out with Josh Allen's quarterback guy. And if you remember when Josh Allen first came to the league, Josh Allen was slightly inaccurate, a lot like Anthony Richardson was. Now, he was definitely better than Anthony Richardson was. I'm not saying that. So I'm just saying their body structure, their big arm, big guys. And Josh Allen, once he started working with this other guy, fixed his inaccuracy issues, and Josh Allen obviously is now the MVP of the league. So I'm hoping that Anthony Richardson, working with this guy, working with Josh Allen, similar styles of a big armed guy, that maybe it might be able to make a turnaround for him.
Yep.
Let's go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just want to see Quinn Nelson like in the postseason, like do well, because I love the big boys up front, and he's been a stud since day one. The fact that he's had to suffer though with some of these teams has been so rough. So I'm happy as well to see, like, he's got a good quarterback, he's got a tight end, and maybe now he can finally start getting some postseason success. Like, I love Quinnen. He's a mauler.
Oh yeah, I mean he's probably one of the only like offensive linemen or something like that actually would go get his jersey. Like he's one of the most popular players on the team, and you're a lineman. Most of the time you don't even know those guys' names unless there's some but you know what I mean. Like that guy.
I would get. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I love the fact that the guy got a penalty for being too aggressive. Like that is awesome. Like he was pancaking guys. It was like there's so cool videos of him just pancaking guys. And if you hear the mic'd up stuff, he is just so aggressive and raw, man.
I would say, like him and Tristan Wirfs, like I would buy those jerseys in a heartbeat just because they're freak athletes, they're dominators up front, and I just, Tristan's got his Super Bowl, and it's like, can we get Quinn in one, please?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our teams there. You guys had any kind of? We got another thing that's major going on with this draft here. Shedeur Sanders. I really thought we'd be talking about where that he ended up. What the hell is going on? I thought the Saints were the spot for him. They ended up taking another quarterback. This was pretty shocking. Gee, Mike, I'll let you go first in this one, man. Tackle this. Try and figure out what the hell's going on.
I think it's a conspiracy that's going on. I think there's a lot of bad talk that's being talked about Sanders behind the scenes and even in front of the camera. I feel like you can just tell that it's a group effort to try to diminish his name. Yes, his attitude is bad. I'm not going to say that it's one of the best ones. But if you're a grown man that leads other grown men that in a harsh sport to go and win games, and you can't control one individual's attitude and make them change for the better, you're in the wrong sport, buddy. You're a coach in the wrong sport, in my opinion. And a dude like this, yes, he comes from a household that is very confident. Some might say cocky, right?
Yep.
Depending on you're looking at. But no matter what, is very confident in himself, and he believes that his skills can relate to the next level. And truly, I believe his skills can relate to the next level. I'm not saying that he was the best quarterback in this draft. I'm not saying that he should have even gone number one, right? The reason I think he shouldn't got number one, what I mean by number one is round one. The reason why I don't think that he should have gone round one is because there was only several teams that I thought needed quarterbacks. One, the Tennessee Titans. They chose Cam Ward with the number one overall pick, and I think we can all agree to he is the best quarterback of this draft, right?
Yep, by far.
The second team would be the Cleveland Browns, right? And we're going to talk about this a little later, but the Jacksonville Jaguars did a trade with the Cleveland Browns. They moved back several picks. The Jacksonville Jaguars went up to select Travis Hunter. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yep. They get the 5th overall pick. They go Mason Grant with a defensive tackle to try to pair up with Myles Garrett. I'm not mad at that pick. He's a great interior defensive lineman. He can do work. He can create havoc for his division, which includes the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, which includes the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow and that good running back core that they have. And obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they have decent running backs and they have a decent running back game. So in a division like that, I'm not mad with that pick, right? And then we jump down to the Saints, where I think that they need a quarterback. They went offensive tackle, right? They go offensive tackle to try to protect Derek Carr if he is able to play. I'm not mad at that pick either, because if Derek Carr is able to play, you're not going to try and get another quarterback right now. You're going to see what Derek Carr can give you, right? Especially Kevin Moore, that he's a great quarterback coach. So maybe he could turn Derek Carr into something else. The next team that I thought would go for Sanders, which I thought he was going to go in the first round with this pick, is the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
21, that's exactly what I was saying.
But I understand why the Steelers didn't select him, because they didn't have a second-round pick. And what the Steelers always do from year in and year out, if you watch NFL football, the Steelers rely on their defense to win. And that's what I think they did with this pick. They're like, yo, you know what? We're just going to keep stacking up on our defensive line, and we're going to prove that defense will take us to the promised land, which I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl like that, but they can get into the playoffs, and they've proven it year in and year out. The next team for me that could have gone quarterback would be the Giants when they traded up when they did that trade to trade up, and they went Jackson Dart. I'm not set up at that pick because I think Jackson Dart is a great quarterback, right? And I think that they probably went with him because he can fit their system a little bit better, right? I'm not upset with that pick. But this is where I don't understand where it went, right? You look at the next quarterback that is chosen by the Saints in Tyler Shugg, the Louisville quarterback. If you watch his tape, I don't care what the numbers say. If you watch his tape, he is not a better quarterback than Sanders, in my opinion, right? We jumped to the third round where two more quarterbacks were selected. Jalen Miro to the Seattle Seahawks. He is not a better quarterback than Sanders. I'm sorry. He's probably played better defenses, yes, in the Power 5 schools, 100%. But if you watch Sanders' tape, he's great in the pocket. He can adjust well. He's a playmaker. Yes, he's not the fastest quarterback, but he still has legs under him. He can still run. He's shown that he can still run. He can create plays for his player. And then the other pick for the Cleveland Browns, where you thought Sanders might go, they chose Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon.
All right.
Yes, he led an Oregon team that should have been the number 1 ranked team going into the college football playoff. Correct me if I'm wrong, if they weren't number 1, because maybe they were, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they were.
But they had an amazing defense, and they had a great offense surrounded by him, which is why he was able to get to that point.
Yep.
All being said, I don't think he should have gone round 1, and if he should have gone to the Steelers. I understand why they didn't pick him. He should have gone round 2 for sure. He should have gone round 3 100%. And I feel like it's just a conspiracy behind them diminishing his name with his attitude, and they're trying to make it seem like he is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. And I disagree. I think he can be a good quarterback in the NFL. Not saying the first year, not saying the first 2 years, but I think down the road, I think he is smart enough and he has the skills and the resources around him that he can be a good NFL quarterback.
So, in my opinion on this one, I agree with what you're saying. It's definitely shocking that he's fallen this far. But in the long run, I think this almost could be better for Sanders. I don't think he was a day 1 starter. But now I think with him falling as far as it may not be the money, but he's been able to make NIL money, so he's going to be financially fine. I think he's actually going to go to a team that's ready to possibly win now, and that they've been able to build around him a little bit more. So it may suck and may be super embarrassing, but I think in the long run, this might actually be a little bit better for him, that he's probably going to go to a team that's built proper and ready to go, if that makes any sense. I know everybody wants to be a first round, second round pick. Who cares? Tom Brady was, a 6? You know what I mean? Like, and obviously, and arguably the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it doesn't necessarily matter, and you go to the right team with the right fit. And so if he does get picked, and I think he will get drafted today, I hope, at least. If he doesn't if he goes undrafted, that's ridiculous.
If he goes undrafted, that needs to be that fall off would need to be studied immensely.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing as well is that, like, I think that maybe he'll be able to get on a team that actually might work out a little bit better for him. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but I think this might be the best thing for him because he's probably going to end up on a winner maybe at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Bleacher Report has him going in round 4 to, I think it was Pittsburgh, I want to say. Yep, going round 4 to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is fine. Which is fine if he goes. I think that it still works out okay for him going to Pittsburgh. You may not have been the number 1 pick, but it doesn't really necessarily matter. You have a better team. You're going to go to an organization that is built to win, that knows how to win. So if he does end up with Pittsburgh, it's a tough pill to swallow, like I was saying, but I think it's the best thing for him. And you're going to go to if you do end up in Pittsburgh, you know exactly what you're getting as far as a mentor, a fantastic guy, and Mike Tomlin who knows football and will take care of him at least, and he will fix any kind of attitude issues if Star has any. That Pittsburgh will play it. He'll mature up, and you got like what is it, Cam Hayward, or I believe that's what it is. You got guys in that locker room. If you go to Pittsburgh, I think that'd be the best move for him because you've got mature, actual adults in that room that will not take any of I don't care who your daddy is and all that kind of nonsense. And I think it's a great organization.
Well, and G-Mag, I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think you mentioned something about possibly the Raiders though too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes there, you have Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers on your team. Like that's That's a
Yeah,
great
and then he could
offense.
also
That's
sit. I
great
mean,
building
they
blocks.
did just extend Geno Smith, so he wouldn't be the day one starter unless something happens to Geno.
It don't
But
matter.
like
It don't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
and Geno seemed like he'd be. I could see the Raiders. But I think the best spot for him is Pittsburgh. You have an actual chance to be the actual starter in Pittsburgh, and it's a well-oiled machine. Pittsburgh is you're probably going to be making the playoffs. They without even having any good quarterbacks, they've made the playoffs. So add Shador, which I think would probably be the best quarterback in the room. Maybe not your day one starter. Maybe give him a couple weeks to learn the system. Maybe he blossoms. Who knows? But I think Pittsburgh would be the absolute best place for him at this point in time, especially now the Saints. My pick was the Saints. But now that they drafted another quarterback, it would make no sense for them to take him now. But I think it's going to work out. It's going to work out in the long run, I think, for Shador. It sucks that you're going to be, almost the laughing stock of the draft. But so was Brady at one point in time, and now he's got how many rings to go with it.
I will say though, I think the difference between Brady and him is that Brady, nobody expected to go anywhere near like day one, and the fact that Shador was like day one top, and then all of a sudden it dropped now to day 3.
Right, I'm completely not even trying to compare the two guys like they're the same level, anything like that. I'm just saying this has happened in the past. Guys slip.
Oh yeah,
Russell Wilson. Say what you want about him. He was a third round pick. Not everybody that goes in the first round pans out anyways.
Yeah.
Talking now though, but why? Why is this happening? So I want to get your guys' point of view because I already shared what mine is, but to hear what your point of view is, why is this happening to him? Like you just mentioned, it's supposed to be round 1. It's about to be round 4 on the 3rd day, and he still hasn't been selected.
I think some of it is like what you said, G Mike. Like there is a little bit of like, we know we don't want this guy. We think this guy's overrated. Like we think kind of everybody, and I think also too the family aspect. His dad. I think that a lot of teams don't necessarily really want to deal with that. Like they don't want to have that on their thing, and so it's really it's almost like everyone's like hands off, and it's like the first person to be like, and go and grab him. I think it would be hilarious. It's not going to happen, but I think how funny would it be if he goes to Dallas, and then in like a year or two, Deion's now the head coach in Dallas too. It's like the prophecy.
Right.
I don't want that. I don't want.
And which I've said that already as well.
Positions that we need to address, honestly.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I'm speaking purely for the entertainment and the memery aspects of it. So, and Jerry, I think you guys are all on the right track. I think it's a combination of a couple things. I think that his talent wasn't as good as it looked on film. I think that they actually shows whenever he was in the pocket and different stuff. He's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's not, but it helps me have a player like Travis Hunter to throw it to, the chemistry. And it also does help whenever your dad's the head coach. That definitely has a factor in it. And I think it's also, like you guys were saying too, it's a little bit too much drama for somebody that was questionable of not necessarily being the best. Now, if you go back 6 months ago, this kid was was going to be the number 1 overall pick. Like it was a shoe-in. And then you can go conspiracy if you wanted it. Something in behind closed doors happened, and maybe he just didn't interview good. Or maybe people were looking at the film a little bit differently or something. But I think that it was more or less just there's too much of a package for a guy that is okay and is going to need some time. I don't think that he's a day one starter, but given the right team, the right coordinators working with them, maybe his skill set, I think it could actually still work. But I think that's part of it as well. I think that it's a package deal and people didn't want the drama. Exactly. And I mean, I will say, depending on how far he falls in the draft, I think that this does need, I think just for purely entertainment, I think that it does need to be studied how, the reasons why he fell, how he fell. Cause it's fascinating to me. It really does.
Guy that was sick, like I was saying 6 months ago, was possibly the number 1 overall pick and now not even drafted on day 3. It's just interesting. All right. Well, do you guys have any other players before we wrap this up? Any other players you guys are excited about that's still undrafted that you're interested in?
No, I just wanted to talk about what did you guys think about Jacksonville trading up to the 2nd pick to get Travis Hunter?
I thought it was interesting considering what they gave up to get him.
Right.
Like, I feel like, yes, he can play multiple positions, and that's great. I still think that they gave up too much to get him. I don't know. I'm not as sold on Travis Hunter in terms of, oh well, this guy we need to literally like give up everything for him. I don't think
Yeah.
he's that good of a player. I think that he could be, I think, a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback for sure, depending on whichever side of the ball they put him on. But I don't see him as like, oh my gosh, we're gonna. He's the second coming of Patrick Mahomes or something like that.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
gave up.
I,
Just
I
to
hate
clarify,
I hate the fact that he went to Jacksonville, obviously because they're in my division, and I really like Travis Hunter. I thought the asking price was a little bit much, and I think the Browns made a great move. They ended up with Mason Graham, which is still a great player, and they were able to stack up some picks, including a first rounder for next year. So I think that was a great move for the Browns. I think Travis Hunter is the real deal, and if this does work out, then you basically got 2 players for 1. So it kind of makes sense, but I just thought it was kind of shocking that they made that move and what they gave up for it. And like they were saying too, we've been making kind of jokes about it, but the GM is young and new. And so this is going to be his guy, and he made a bold move right off the bat. So we'll see if this pans out. If this doesn't pan out, why did you hire a guy that he's like 37 years old or 38 years old and barely been in the position ever, So I think it's going to work out. I do think Travis Hunter, because of his character, I think it's going to be perfectly fine in the NFL. I see him more as a corner that can play wide receiver than the opposite. I think that he'll be better off as a corner and then throw packages in there for him to play wide receiver. But we'll see what Jacksonville does. They've been rumored that they're going to try and have him run both ways, at least for the first year or two, something like that, and see how it goes. So so the one guy that I was talking about before as well, though, the one guy that hasn't got drafted yet that I'm really excited to see is Cam Skattebo. I want to see where he's going to end up. I think that guy is going to be awesome in the pros. I'm really interested to see where he ends up. I'm hoping that he can go to a smart offensive coach, and whoever gets him, I think is going to get one hell of a football player. Is there any other guys that you guys are excited about?
I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily in terms of like excited, like, oh my gosh, like this one player in particular. I'm just looking at the crop of linebackers that are left that the Bucs could potentially go after. You got Jeffrey Bossa from Oregon. I like him. Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma, and then Chris Paul Jr. A couple of guys that are some thumpers, got some oomph to them, good run defenders. I think that definitely we need somebody that is going to be a sure tackler and somebody that can cover. Maybe not necessarily needs to be a big run stuffer, so to say, because we had that last year in KJ Britt, and he was a bust in coverage. Same thing kind of with Devin White. Great athlete, great tackler, just can't cover to save his life. So I would like to start seeing more of guys that can cover the field, like a Servassier Dennis, who are going to be healthy. And we don't need to necessarily send on blitzes the whole time, that we can rely on our edge rushers to put pressure on the quarterback and just kind of have them more sitting out in coverage. So
G-Mike, you got anybody else you're interested in anything, or just happy with what the Cowboys did?
I'm happy with the Cowboys did, and hopefully they can keep it going. I want to see CJ Harvey. I want to see where he ends up. That was a guy that
RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. I was looking at him a lot this year because I went to several UCF games, and every time I went out there, he was balling. He was the focal point of that offense. So I want to see if he could do it in the pros. And I think what your boy Cam, I think he's still gonna end up in the Niners. I think they're gonna use him as a I forget the guy's name that just retired with the German last name. I forget his name. Or they just released. I'm sorry, they just released.
Oh yeah. I didn't about Jervich or something like that.
Yeah, and I think he could replace him. I think he could be a good blocking running back,
more like a fullback.
Yeah, and he could block for.
He's like Mike.
You're talking about Juszczyk?
Juszczyk, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, Kyle Juszczyk.
You released him. Yeah. So I think he could replace him. I think he could be a good blocking running back and still be out there catching the ball, still making plays for sure. But he's not going to get the usage, obviously, because CMC.
Yeah, I would love to see him go to the Niners. I just want to see that guy go to an offensive-minded coach because I think that his skill set will be super. Just he could do a lot of different stuff on the field. So I'm really excited to see that one. So
big thumper. So I like him.
All right, fellas. Well, this has been a great show. It's been long and it's been fun, man. It's a weekend and we're having a great time, and we really appreciate everybody that watched, checked in, and keep it moving out there, guys. Be safe. We love you guys, and thank you guys very much. Please give us a like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody you know. I don't even care if you don't know them. Let them know about Views from the Stands. Mr. BC, you got anything for the people?
Shedeur watch day 3. Let's get it on.
Yeah, G-Mike, my man.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like, subscribe, share with your family and friends, comment, whatever the case may be. If you guys want to be on the show, don't forget we will include you. If not, if you just want to be in the comment section say a little funny stuff, make fun of us, whatever the case may be, ask us some questions. We would really appreciate it. And again, just thank you for all the love and support.
Absolutely. All right, guys, for Views from the Stands, I am Stevie B. We got G, Mike, and Mr. BC, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.